worst day of our marriage so far has been I was too tired, and she knew I just was not wanting to have sex, and she cried. She didn't think marriage would be this way, and she's more of a physical touch person than I am. I am not a physical touch person at all.
I won't give you some silly analogy. This is too serious of a topic. What up, what up, what up, what up? This is John with the Dr. John Delony Show. A show for you, by you, about you. Your mental health, your emotional health, your marriage, your relationships with your in-laws, whatever you got going on in your life, your kids, all of it. We're all struggling with something, and often we don't have a place to turn. We don't have a group of people or even one person that we can trust to say, hey, this is what's really happening. Can you help me walk through this? That's what this show is about. If you want to be on this show, my promise is I'll sit with you, I'll walk through this thing with you, and we'll figure out what's the next right step. Go to johndelony.com/ask, A-S-K, fill out the little box and hit submit, and then Kelly and the gang will see if your call fits the show, or give us a call, 1-844-693-3291. It's 1-844-693-3291. Leave a message, and we will rock and roll. Kelly.
Yes.
You've been very mean to me so far today.
No, not mean. I'm trying new tactics to get you to show up on time. And the way
tactics.
Tactics. The way that I did that. So for those that don't know, here we have what we call a personality suite, and it's where all the personalities' offices are, or like their desks are, and then the brand leaders and things like that. And a lot of times I have to go in there and find John at his desk and remind him it's time to record.
Agree to disagree.
One of us is right, one of us is wrong. Let's just stick with that. And so we all know that John likes gummy candies. So when I walked in there today and he was sitting at his desk talking to someone, there was a bag of gummy bears sitting on another table. So I grabbed the gummy bears and started making a trail of them and saying, come on, John, come on.
Yeah, behind me I heard this.
I just want y'all to know he's currently sitting in the chair. So
They worked. And I may be sliding off into a diabetic coma. Maybe, because I ate them all the way down the hallway.
All the ones from the floor?
No, I didn't.
You got a problem.
I did not. I do have a problem. I did not do that.
But I had to make a trail from his desk all the way to the studio. But he got here, so you're welcome.
And this is why we have a special form for workplace harassment that I'm going to fill out right after this show.
It'll go. I'll take it to HR for you. I promise.
It'll go into my file. It's a very, very big file. All right, let's go out to Portland, Oregon, and talk to Ken. What's up, Ken?
Hey, Dr. Maloney.
What's up?
Man, I've listened to your show for about a year now, and I just really appreciate your wisdom. I appreciate the fact that you listen to Under Oath and stuff like that. I just really appreciate it.
I like my good old medal, dude. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being with us for a year.
Absolutely.
So what's up, man?
So I just got married about a couple months ago, and my wife and we've talked about a lot of things before getting married. We talked about sex and money and finances, and before getting married, we thought we were on the same page about sex, and now we're realizing more and more that she has a much higher sex drive than I do.
Okay.
And I want to know how to deal with that, and then two, is there something wrong with me? Is there something how can I help with that? And is there something that's broken in me and that it makes it more difficult for me to love my wife? Pretty much.
Man, that's tough. You got a lot of stories circulating in your head, don't you?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man. Man, there's so much to the question you just asked. I guess I'll just come out and say I don't think you're broken, and I don't even know what the challenge is. Okay? And here's what I mean by that. If I won't give you some silly analogy. This is too serious of a topic. However your body happens to be responding to whatever stimulus is going on in your world, whether that's stress, whether that's work, whether that's stories, whether that's physical, whether that's just plain, I'm good with X, Y, and Z, and that's it. I don't want you to think you're broken, okay?
Okay.
Cool. So let's When you say your wife has a higher sex drive than you, what does that mean? Put that into context for me.
That means that she is okay with having sex probably twice a day. I think the worst day of our marriage so far has been that a week after we were married, I was too tired and just really wanted to go to sleep. And she knew I just was not wanting to have sex, and she cried. And just the realization that, she didn't think marriage would be this way, and just seeing how devastated she was. So she's more of a physical touch person than I am. I am not a physical touch person at all. And so we've been working on ways to not just have more sex, but for me to be more physical, like that, cuddle with her more and stuff like that.
Sure. Is some of that, how long have y'all been married now?
We got married February 1st. I guess it is March, late March.
Yeah, late March. So a lot of this, man, is you'll be discovering for years ways you can practice intimacy. And that's a very un-Hollywood way to say that. But there will be some, like, I'll take another turn so it's not emotional for you guys. Let's say I really value words of affirmation, right? From the 5 love languages conversation, which isn't totally complete, but sometimes it gives you a framework that you can kind of tiptoe into some of these things. Right. And maybe my wife isn't the words of affirmation person. It doesn't occur to her. Once I say out loud, hey, this really matters to me. This is the way that my body feels safe and feels loved. Is you just saying, hey, I want you to know I see you and I love you and I'm grateful for you. Then she has a choice to make, which is be uncomfortable and say the things that aren't going to come naturally to her at the beginning. And then, by the way, over time, they do become more natural. That's why the love language is like, it's just this stamp. This is the way you are. I don't buy that. Some of these things you do practice over time. Or she can say, you know what, I just don't do that. And I'm not ever going to do that. And then we have to have that hard conversation. In your world, your wife has said, and you probably knew this before you got married, she likes to hold hands. She likes to, she likes me to put my arm around her. She always is holding my hand and then also touching my arm at the same time too. Like there's always, right, something going on. You knew that going into this thing. And so some of that is you learning here's how my wife feels safe. Right?
Right.
When you get to the next layer, though, so if you're calling me to ask, do you have some sort of hyposexual dysfunction, right, or some type of hyposexual disorder, because you think you're unable to, you don't like having sex twice a day every day? I would tell you, no, that's a lot of sex. Okay, and it may be that the story she was told growing up is that all he's going to want is sex, and you better be ready, and you better be ready, and you better be ready. And so when you say, actually, I just want to go to sleep so I can show up tomorrow, we can go to breakfast, we can do our thing, her body absorbs that message as you're failing him. So it sounds like you'll have 2 competing messages going at the same time. It's just leading you in opposite directions. Does that sound fair? Or does she just really crave sexual intimacy with you?
I think it's a bit the latter. She didn't really grow up with because we're both Christians, and she grew up she's German, so she didn't really grow up with a culture that was very anti-sex.
Sure, opposite actually. So, yeah.
For her, this is she just really enjoys it. Okay. For me, maybe a little backstory is before dating her, I really struggled with pornography. Okay. And so when we started dating, actually before we started dating, I got into a group of men, and so been sober for a while. And so she knows this, but I think another part of it is me realizing just how different sex is with a person, right?
Yeah, dude.
Right.
It's a wee bit different. That's right.
And I think maybe there's an aspect of it to where I don't know if I'm associating like sex with negative things too. Like,
I can hear by the tone in your voice that you are. And so, how old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay, so you're in the band of human that has been part of a great social experiment that has never existed in human history. And that is, you were one of the first ones that, like when I was a kid, there were some playboys in a house down the street, right?
Right.
For you, every playboy, every porn movie ever shot in human history was on your phone. That's how you grew up, right? And it took a while before the neuroscience community caught up with the faith community, which was like, whoa, we're blowing people's brains out of the back of their head with this much stimulation. Right. The body cannot take this level of stimulation all at the same time. And so what we're seeing now is record levels of, well, I'll say it backwards, the lowest amount of people having the lowest amount of sex in recorded human history in your particular band of age group.
Oh.
And so some of it is there is such a gap between, like you mentioned, what I've seen in on my phone, what I've seen at the computer, what I've seen on TV, and then actually being in a room with a real person. Holy smokes. And your body doesn't have, it can't bridge that gap. Or it is someone like you struggle with pornography, struggle. You went and met with a group of guys. You're in an SA community of some sort of sobriety community where I'm trying to get off this stuff. And by the way, this is not just faith communities. This is loads of people dealing with this. And
right.
Sex itself becomes very shame-based. And the way your body dealt with lust, arousal, intimacy was just to shut the whole thing down. And now you have this amazing woman that you've pledged your life to standing in front of you saying, do you desire me? And in your heart, you're like, yes. And your body's like, we're shutting it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can kind of go multiple different directions here. Can I ask you just some real pointed questions? Is that okay?
Go for it.
Is sex gross you out?
No.
Okay. Does sex, the idea of it, exhaust you?
Yes.
Okay. Are you having a hard time getting aroused?
I can still get aroused, but yeah, I would say it takes a bit longer.
Okay. Are you, and I say grossed out, not in a physical way, but is the idea of sex gross you out? Does your body have a kind of a disgust response?
I don't think disgust, but I definitely feels like...
Or discomfort, like not in your own body while this is happening?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay. So when somebody sits down and says, hey, here's what I'm struggling with, I want to please my wife, I'm struggling. And by the way, I should have prefaced this at the beginning. Kudos for you, man. Most men will not have this conversation. They don't have the courage to have this conversation. And they just bury it. They blame their wives. And they cause just chaos. So kudos for you, man, for at least having this conversation. I guess let me ask you this before I start answering your question at a tactical level. Do you want to have sex more often? Do you want to feel comfortable having sex? Or do you want to be able to communicate to her in a way that I don't want to do this? Like, how can I help you?
Yeah, I want to, I think if I enjoy it more, then the rest will hopefully follow,
Not
like I said,
necessarily, but it's a place to start. That's a good place to start.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
I definitely am just naturally not as physical touch as she is, just without any pornography at all. But I want to be able to, I want to be able to have this want to initiate more, because she's also initiating more often. I probably initiate, 20% of the time, and she's initiating more. And so,
what stops you from putting that on the calendar? I'm going to almost with an eye towards being disciplined about it. I'm going to initiate 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Like like my phone goes off at noon, and I'm going to send her a flirty text about what I want to have happen tonight.
Right.
What stops you from that?
We just started doing that, actually.
Okay. All right.
That was a bit hard for her because it's not very sexy.
It's not very Hollywoody. That's right.
No.
Usually it's after the first kid, but we often tell folks the only sex you will have is scheduled sex. Now that sounds so unlike I just want to come in, like you rip my clothes off. All that sounds amazing,
right.
And those moments still happen. But man, you got 2 people who are working full time, stress, trying to build a house, trying to pay off student loans, and somebody gets pregnant, and then yada, yada, yada. And then somebody has gas for the first time, and we've only been married for 2 months, but whoa, that's really bad. Like all that happens at the same time, right? And so really it's like, I need to put this on the calendar. And the quicker couples can get over the fact that it's on the calendar, and dude, we're doing it anyway. And in fact, then you start being able to fantasize about it, start thinking about it, start like all day, you're like, yeah, man. Then it makes it's amazing to plug into. But until then, it feels very like if it has to go on a calendar, if we have to think about it ahead of time, plan for it, then maybe we probably shouldn't even be together, right? That's what it feels like. That's super false. Super false. The same as we should just make enough money that we never have to budget. Otherwise, we're failures, right? No.
Right.
Like our cars should just be built so well they never need gas in them. Otherwise, geez, these cars are junky. No, that's just not how the world works. But because of Hollywood, man, we have a weird picture about long-term relationships and sex and all of the baggage that comes with it. Everything it means, right? I'm enough. I'm not enough. This or that. So some of your initiation sounds like it's less about like doing it. And initiation is, I'm going to practice loving my wife in a way that she has asked me to show her affection, which is physical touch, which is planning things, which is initiating desire. And my promise to you is over time, if you make this a practice, you'll plug into it. It might look different than it does now, but you'll find your groove in a way that it becomes like desirable. It will start to feel safe to you over time. The second thing I would tell you is normally, I think it'd be worth sitting down and talking to somebody. I really do. And when somebody asks me this, often I'll send them to a medical doctor first because I want them to get their testosterone checked. I want to make sure everything is functioning as it should biologically, physiologically is probably a better way to say that. And then get into the psychology. But yours sounds like your body works great. Like you don't have trouble getting erection. You don't have trouble with arousal, but you do just struggle with the whole emotional side of this thing. So I think it's worth sitting down and talking to somebody. Have you done that now that you're married?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
My gut tells me you have some psychological bricks in your backpack that sex has such a shame attachment. Intimacy has such a burdensome weight. It's such a burdensome weight on you that it's really hard to be connected and totally with somebody in a moment.
I think it's fair.
Okay. And would she go with you?
Oh yeah, she would.
She's like, she'll do anything. She'll do anything. I want you to be really graceful with Ken for a season, okay? Because you're swimming upstream pretty hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're swimming upstream trying to honor your wife. You're swimming upstream trying to be the man that she wants you to be and love her in the ways that she needs. You're also swimming upstream with, there's few things more embarrassing to a man than either not wanting sex or not being able to perform. And you're swimming upstream in a culture that says, all you want is this. And, I just want to have sex all the time. And you're like, dude, I don't. And does that mean something's wrong with, right? You're swimming upstream a lot. And so I want you to rest on, if nothing else, keep my voice in the back of your head. Dude, I'm freaking proud of you. I'm proud of you. What you're doing, it's really challenging.
Appreciate it.
And I think if you, it's not a lost cause. And I think that you can change the story and change the narrative and ultimately change your body's physiological response to touch and intimacy and sexual connection that is not shame-based, that is not somehow you're less than based, somehow you're a failure based, but somehow, dude, I happen to marry somebody who wants to have sex all the time. Pretty awesome.
Right.
And she may have to come to terms with, I would have sex every day if I could. And the person I married can do 3 days a week. And that's a compromise for him because he would prefer 1 to 2 days a week. But 3 days is where we landed for right now. Cool. Right? And every couple makes those type of negotiations and seasons, and it goes up and it down. All like that's part of being in a long-term relationship with somebody. And the tables may turn. Y'all may have kid 1, kid 2, and then maybe you're like, hey, let's do it every day. And she's like, what? Like, who knows? But right now, it's about, all right, I need to teach my heart, my mind, my brain, my body something different around intimacy. And that doesn't mean you're broken. That means your body's trying to take care of you. And it's just chosen a wacky way to take care of you right now. How's that sound?
I think that sounds fair. And I like the idea of, because we've talked about, okay, I'm going to initiate like at least 2 times, but we haven't put it on a calendar. And I think
put it on your calendar. Put it on your calendar.
Yeah.
She didn't need it on hers. Put it on yours.
Okay.
And just know I'm practicing. And dude, I didn't have this challenge, but I walked into a kitchen and did not ever see dishes. Never. I cleaned the dishes when there was no more in the cabinets and in the pantry and in the car and in the yard. And so for me, I put on my calendar early on, do dishes. And it would literally ding my phone and I'd be like, oh, okay, go into the kitchen and look for dishes. And now I see it all the time. I see it, but I trained myself to see it over time. When me and my wife sat down to decide, are we going to stay married? I said, I need you to say you're proud of me. She showed me she was proud of me every day by creating a home that was so stable that I could rappel off the edge and go do my crazy things that I was doing at work. It never occurred to her that this guy needs to hear that sentence. Cool, I'm on it. I'll do that. But it became a practice, and now she does it all the time. It's amazing. But I had to say the words, here's what I need, and then she had to practice it. That's awesome. That's what being in a relationship's about. This one's just fraught with a lot of other baggage, just because it's sex. Just because it's sex. And it means so many things to so many different people all at the same time. So tell your wife you're going to set up an appointment to go talk to somebody, and you want to do the work to teach your body that sexual intimacy in this relationship is all systems go. Everything's on the table. Everything's fun. Everything's going to be you're going to learn desire. You're going to learn excitement. You're going to learn playfulness. You're going to learn all these things. And also say, I commit to 2 to 3 days a week of initiation, of just touch. It doesn't have to be intercourse. It's just touch, connection, closeness. I'm going to initiate. Put that on your calendar. Have your phone buzz you a couple times a day. You can shoot her a text. And when you get home, remind yourself, I'm going to drop my bag and I'm just going to give her a hug and I'm going to hold her an extra 2 seconds. I'm going to reach over and grab her hand during this movie. I'm going to reach over and grab her hand as we're getting out of the car, and I'm going to hold her hand on the way into this restaurant. Begin to practice it. And if you feel uncomfortable, sit in the discomfort. Why am I uncomfortable? Because I love this woman. I love holding her hand. It's okay. It's good. And we're just going to practice that. We're going to practice that. I'm proud of you, kid. I'm proud of you. Call me anytime. Hang on the line. I'm going to send you a copy of Own Your Past, Change Your Future. It's a book about the stories we tell ourselves. And I want you to read that book and put into practice some of the things that it says to do, because I think it will help change your life. We'll be right back. So we're coming to the end of 40 days of Lent, this time of reflection, fasting, contemplation, and seeking peace. Lent is about finding meaning, purpose, discipline, finding connection with God, and finally submitting to the fact that you're not the center of the universe. In the last 40 days of Lent, maybe you've made some changes in your life. Maybe you've spent some time in prayer and fasting. Maybe you finally cut out some bad habits, or you realized you are way over your head involved in some old, tough, bad habits. Through it all, I hope all of us were able to find space to slow down and reflect. I know I have. And that doesn't have to stop just because Lent is over. If you're ready to go even deeper, my friends at Hallow have created the Easter Prayer Challenge. Easter with the early church. Over the next few weeks, you can dig into the writings of the early church fathers and better understand how Christians lived and worshiped in those early days. And with all of the talks of AI, political elections, changing economic challenges, all of it, it might sound wild, but the words of those first Christian thinkers are still relevant in our culture today. Those timeless truths and principles can still apply in our life even centuries later and half a world away. I hope you'll join me and millions of others in these next days of prayer and meditation on Hallow. It's time to contemplate, slow down, let go, find meaning, and experience peace. Hallow is the #1 prayer app in the world, and for listeners of this show, you get 3 free months of Hallow. All 10,000 plus prayers, meditations, music, lecture series, and more. All of it by going to hallow.com/Delony. That's 3 free months of the app at hallow.com/Delony. All right, let's roll out to Sacramento, California, and talk to Mia. Hey, Mia, what's up?
Hi, Dr. John. It's an honor to speak to you.
It's an honor to talk to you. What's happening?
So I have been with my boyfriend for 3 months now, and I can see myself with him for a long, long time. He's patient, kind, and very smart. I do love him. But here's the thing. He has bad breath.
Oh, no.
And it's all the time. Like, the first time I met him, I noticed it. And so...
Have you told him?
I know... No.
Mia, why? No. You said I love him. I don't know
how. So I changed. I've noticed like the change in my behavior because of his breath.
Of course. Your eyebrows are falling out.
Sorry.
No, Mia, you have to tell him.
So I don't know how to tell him so I don't upset him. That's the last thing I want to do is embarrass him or upset him.
Okay, can you say, hey, I love you, and I'm not saying this to embarrass you. I'm saying this because I want to kiss you more and be closer to your face.
So this is the thing. I had a relationship before him that I had the same problem with, and he got it really upset, and he said that the relationship changed since I told him that he had bad breath and I couldn't get close to him. So that didn't last, and I'm scared of going back to that same situation.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to feel trite, and you just have to believe me, okay?
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 46.
Okay. Have you been in long-term relationships before?
Yes, I was married for almost 20 years.
Okay. So you know what I'm about to say is true. If you can't have a conversation with somebody to provide feedback or accountability or care about them, especially care about them that A, may be a medical issue, or B, for sure will facilitate intimacy. This relationship will end in a train wreck at some point. You know this, I know this.
Yes.
I think it is the greatest gift in the world when somebody says, hey, dude, you got bad breath. I'm so grateful that my close friends don't let me walk through the world being like, hi, I'm John. And people are, like their skin's peeling. Like, I'm so grateful. If I have like nose hair sticking out that someone's like, hey, man, running the green room or dressing room and trim your nose hairs. They're hanging all over the microphone. My manager just the other day, I was getting out of the car to go speak, and he's like, "Hey, dude, you got a big thing of earwax, like right in your ear." Like, dude, thank you. I'm about to go on stage, right? It's a gift.
Yes.
And if somebody is not mature enough to see it as a gift, then they are not going to be mature enough when y'all have conversations about a house, about a home, about insurance, about your mom coming to live with you when she gets older, like whatever the thing is, they won't be mature about any of the hard conversations. I'm telling you, if my wife were to tell me, "Hey, like I haven't told you this, but for the last 3 months, your breath has been really, really bad," I'd be embarrassed. Of course I would, but I'd smile and I'd cover my mouth and I'd go, "Thank you so much for telling me." That'd be my first response. And I'm not that great of a guy, right? I'm just so grateful. After 3 months of being with this dude, do you think he's that kind of person?
No, I think he will understand. I think he's mature enough to respond in a way that, like you said, he would. I think he'll be grateful that I did tell him. But I think it's more about me. I think I'm more of anxious because of what happened before.
Why did your first marriage end?
He did not take care of himself.
Tell me about that.
He was selfish in the way that he wanted to do what he wanted to do, which was to eat and have anxiety, and he eats and then he gained so much weight, and he had a heart condition, and he did not want to do anything about it. And I couldn't watch him slowly killing himself.
Okay.
And I was told that I was nagging him
Right.
about his weight, about his whatever he was doing. I was nagging him.
So your
And
care
I
for
don't
your
want
care
to
for
be his mom.
I know, but your care for somebody's health,
Yes.
your body feels like that cost you your marriage. It did not. What cost you your marriage is you were married to a guy that was slowly killing himself. And you said, "I can't be in the front seat of this car while you're driving into an oncoming train."
Mm-hmm.
And then you met somebody else after your marriage ended. And by the way, there was more to it than that, wasn't there?
Yes.
Yes, there was.
A lot more.
A lot more, I know. And then you got a new person, and you said, "I'm going to speak up on this one." And that guy said, "You ruined everything."
Mm-hmm.
So I think your body's right. Your body put GPS pins in do not have direct conversations with men about their health or potentially sensitive topics, because that leaves you all alone.
Mm-hmm.
And your body's just trying to keep you safe. And I honor that and I trust it, and good for your body, but your body's wrong on this one. If this cost you your relationship, I'm glad it cost it to you at month 3 and not 20 years later from down the road again on this one. This sweet guy who you said is great and wonderful and kind and loving and loves you deserves to know that his breath is making the wallpaper in the bathroom peel off. He deserves to know that. And there's lots of great products out there. Kelly has bad breath like that. She doesn't. But there, I was going to say it. But there's something called TheraBreath that they were telling me about that is really effective. There's all kind of products out there. Go see a dentist because it might be infected too. Who knows what's going on? But man, what a gift that somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, it's tough to be close to you. You need to go get something checked out." Or you need to quit dipping and drinking coffee in the middle of the like whatever the thing is, man. Or you need to brush your teeth, whatever it happens to be. Something benign, easy, or something that is a medical issue. But man, he's lucky to have someone who loves him enough to say something. And obviously do it with compassion. Don't do it when you're mad at him. Do it in a way that you can say, "I love you, and I'm just going to tell you something hard. It's kind of embarrassing, but don't be embarrassed. It's because I love you, and I want to get closer to you. But your bad breath is real tough. Your breath is tough, and I'm worried about you." And man, I hope he takes it well. Will you let me know? Shoot me a note, Mia, and let me know how he takes that conversation. My hope is he just hugs you and says, "Thank you. Finally, somebody told me." And if he gets really troubled by it, tell him to call the show. I'll be happy to talk to him. Thanks for the call, Mia. We'll be right back. Let's talk about Organifi. Listen, I love Organifi. I love it. You want to know how much I love it? They now have a special basket on my counter. That's not a big deal, you might say. Well, listen, in my home, kitchen counter space is sacred. In fact, sometimes I think the goal in my kitchen is for the counters to never look like anyone ever uses them ever. But even my wife made a special place for the Organifi potions and powders. Why? I take Organifi every single day. I travel with it. I take it in the morning for energy, for clarity, for my gut health, and I take it in the evening as part of my wind down ritual to relax and finally go to sleep. Red juice, green juice, pure, Harmony, gold juice, all mix and match. I love them. And we've just started using Organifi Kids Protect, and that supports kids' daily immune health with nutrients that work to strengthen their body's first line of defense. And so far, things are looking amazing. And I want to say this because it's important. I'm currently taking stock of all the supplements I take. I'm doing new blood work, changing my workout routines. I'm reimagining my caffeine intake. I just took my arm and wiped the counter clean, and I'm starting over from square one. I'm paying extra attention to my health. And listen, one of the only supplements I'm going to continue to take while doing a full reset is Organifi. If it's good enough for me, my family, and my friends, it's worth you giving it a try. Go to Organifi.com/Delony or use promo code Delony at checkout for 20% off all products in the stores. That's Organifi, Organifi.com/Delony. All right, let's go out to Baltimore, not to see The Wire, but to talk to Catherine. Hey, Catherine, what's up?
Hi, Dr. John. Thank you so much for taking my call today.
Of course. Thanks for calling. What's happening?
Okay, so I'm kind of nervous. Calling because I am 29 years old and I do not have my driver's license, and I do not know how to drive. It's really embarrassing, but I do have a lot of anxiety when it comes to learning how to drive. I've tried learning multiple times. My dad, other family members, and my fiance have all tried teaching me, but I get very anxious, scared. I get just all crazy type of thoughts every time that I try, and I kind of just shut down. I'm at a point right now where I really, really want to learn, and I need to for myself and my family, but I just feel so stuck. And I really don't know what to do. I feel really embarrassed having to ask my family once again, to help me and teach me. Last time I tried, I made it out the parking lot once and freaked out and kind of just shut down after that.
Okay. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
And I know it's embarrassing to say out loud. And I want you to know I'm not embarrassed with you. I'm not embarrassed for you. I'm not embarrassed at you.
Yeah.
If you were allergic to, I don't know, pollen, and you walked outside with your family and you just started sneezing everywhere, that'd be embarrassing.
Yeah.
But would that mean something's wrong with you or broken in you?
No.
No, it would mean your body has identified pollen as a threat and it's overreacting. And so your body in your nervous system has identified driving a car as something that's super not safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And all we have to do is teach our body. It actually is not very safe driving a 2,000-pound box of metal down the highway, right? It's not super safe. And there's ways to safely navigate it.
Yeah.
And so, can I tell you, you got out of the parking lot? How far?
I got out of the parking lot, drove for like a few seconds, and was right back into the next parking lot.
Hey, can I tell you, congratulations?
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to give you some other tips and like some things I want you to do. But if you go just with your dad or your fiance or somebody you trust your mom, somebody you trust, sister,
Mm-hmm.
and you just go to that same parking lot and you drive out of the parking lot onto the street into that next turn into the parking lot
Mm-hmm.
and call it a day. Then the next day, go do that again and then call it a day. And the next day, do it again and we're going to call it a day.
I feel like it's such an inconvenience because...
Are you an inconvenience?
I feel like it.
You're not. You're not.
They don't make me feel like I am, but I do feel that way.
I understand. You're not. Is it annoying? Yeah, of course it is. Is it annoying for them? Is this the picture your dad had of his almost 30-year-old daughter not being able to drive because her body had determined driving is like this terrifying? No, of course that's not the picture he had. So is he frustrated? Yeah. Does that mean you're a loser? No.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
Okay.
And maybe you don't go all the way to that parking lot. Maybe you say, hey, I need to do my run. And so in your driveway, you're going to back up and you're going to drive 4 houses and you're going to pull into that driveway and you're going to rest for a second and you're going to back up and go back home. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then the next day, you're going to do 5 houses. Next day, 6 houses. Here's what I'm getting at. You have what I would call a phobia. Your body has identified something as a threat that most people don't experience, okay? And that threat is overriding your ability to move forward. It's shutting you down.
Yeah.
Your body is saying, there's a tiger, and you keep walking towards the tiger, so your body's saying, oh, you don't get the message. I quit, right? That's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's just done it with driving.
Yeah.
And so the standard 101 procedure for this, or therapeutic intervention, if you will, coaching intervention, whatever you want to call it, is called exposure therapy. So are you scared of snakes?
Yes.
Okay. If you came to a counseling office or went and hired a coach and said, I want to get over my fear of snakes, what they would have you do is tell them about a snake that scared you once. Tell them all about it. Feel it all in your body, how scared you are. Oh, man. And then the next time they may have you color a coloring book with a snake picture in it as an adult. And you would feel so ridiculous, but you'd be coloring a snake. And then maybe you do it again the next time and the next time. And then after that, they'd have you look at pictures of snakes. Long story short is they would slowly expose you to these things so that one day down the road, you're holding a snake in the office. You have a big python wrapped around your neck and you're just holding it, talking to the counselor, talking to the coach. That's what we're going to do here. We're going to slowly teach our body. I know that you know this. I know that you think this isn't safe, but we're good. Now, have you ever had like a car wreck? Have you lost somebody? Like, where did your body learn that driving is this unsafe?
I don't know. You know, my fiance, he's tried to help me, asking me a billion questions. And the only thing that I can really think of, like, of a time that I was in a car and I was scared was when I was little. My mom, she is an alcoholic, and there was one time that I was in the car with her while she was driving, and she was pretty drunk. She wasn't driving crazy in the highway or anything. It was a really short drive, and she was swerving a little bit, but nothing, nothing crazy happened. I'm not going to say nothing unsafe, but nothing crazy happened. We got home, but I knew that we weren't safe, or I knew that something was wrong and she wasn't supposed to be driving or wasn't in control. And I feel like my fear has a lot to do with control, because
I was going to say
the thoughts that I have are like, what if I miss the light? What if I get into an accident and I don't know what to do? What if I don't put my signal and it causes an accident? Like, all these crazy things.
Hold on. Whoa. If you go back and watch this on YouTube, when you said my mom's an alcoholic, you're going to see me smile. Not because I'm happy that your mom's an alcoholic, but because you grew up in a home where the one person who was supposed to be connected and stable with you wasn't.
Yeah.
And your body has been grasping for control since before you could walk.
Yeah.
And you, for 30 years, have been grasping for every shred of control over every variable in your life.
Yeah.
Your body's never felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it is almost like throwing darts. How many things have you been scared of over the years that you've pushed through and found your body just moves on to a new thing?
A lot, actually.
I know. You know why? Because the underlying anxiety has never been dealt with.
Yeah.
You have a very anxious life, and you throw that anxious, like your body is anxious, and you throw it into life, and then it's like the Price is Right wheel. It just spins until it lands on a thing, and then it's like driving, and then eventually you're gonna overcome it because you're gonna have to. You'll figure something out, and you'll be able to get in a car, and it will be frantic, but you'll get to the store and you'll get home. And then once you do that a couple of times, your body will spin the wheel again, and it will land on something else.
Oh, gosh.
It's been doing that your whole life, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Driving's not the issue. Driving is just the alarm system letting you know that your body's identified your world is not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have close friends you can count on?
Not really.
Nope.
I have like family that I'm really close with, and my fiance.
Family judges you and lectures you. Do you have a couple of girlfriends that you go out with and you can just go blah with?
Family, cousins. I really don't have friends like that. I'm really not a social person.
Okay. Have you ever gone to talk to a counselor about your childhood?
Yes. Yeah, so I do have a therapist right now. I started during COVID because that was really hard.
Yeah, because,
really
hey,
hard.
you know what? That was a global rise in anxiety because the whole world lost the illusion of control. They thought they could control everything. And then it was like, nope, it's gone.
Yeah, during that time, I actually cut off my mom. And with that came a lot of issues with my family, and just seeing my siblings less, it was really a big shock. Yes. And I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression at the time. I feel like I'm doing a lot better now, and I'm doing better with the relationships with my siblings. But
hold on. Are you doing better with those relationships because they honor and love you and where you are? Or are those relationships going better because you are back to performing and being what they need to be so that everybody has peace?
No. My siblings, they're great. They love me. They understand everything. And unfortunately, they're in the middle, but they respect me.
That's amazing. Good for them. We could go down the list about your spiritual life, your health, your healing that needs to happen, all those things. I'm going to send you a copy. I'm going to send you as a gift my book, Building a Non-Anxious Life.
Thank you so much.
Underneath phobia is this sense that your body is simply trying to keep you alive.
Yeah.
Often kids who grow up in the house of somebody who struggled with alcohol, and if that person was married to another spouse that didn't protect them, or kind of did, but maybe, anyway, your body just understands the world is very unsafe, and so it will try to grasp for control wherever it can come from.
Yeah.
And so I want you to heal from the inside out. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for going this far. I think it's a matter of talking to your counselor about, say, I want to try exposure therapy with driving. And if your counselor says, I don't do that, I'm not going to leave the office, that's fine. Ask your counselor to write you out a plan, a 10-week plan. And you, Catherine, your work here is you got to get over this. I'm a burden to everybody. You're not a burden.
Yeah.
Okay? And if somebody is one of my oldest best friends on planet Earth is wheelchair bound. Mm-hmm. Is it harder to get in and out of restaurants? Yes. Is it annoying when we show up to a restaurant that doesn't have a wheelchair access? Yes. Is my friend a burden? God, no. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
And if you map out a 10-week get well plan or a 15-week get well plan, and by the way, that doesn't mean at the end of 15 weeks you're flying down the highway at 80 miles an hour. But maybe you can go to the store. Maybe you can go to church. Maybe you can drive over to your dad's house.
Yeah.
Right? On the back roads through the neighborhood at 30 miles an hour. Cool. Dude, we are just practicing. Right? If they say, oh my gosh, you're so annoying, they are opting out for a season. They're not your people right now. Maybe they will be one day. They're not right now.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But ask your counselor to write you out a plan, a 10-week plan, an 8-week plan, where we're going to get into the car in a parking lot, and we're going to drive right up to the edge, and we're going to turn on the turn signal. We're going to look left, right, left, and start to turn, but not leave.
Okay.
We're going to practice that 5 times, 10 times, 20 times until our body doesn't go, every time.
Okay.
Right? And we're going to practice, and we're going to practice, and we're going to practice. Slowly peeling back another layer. And you're going to look up in a year and be driving around town.
I hope so.
Okay? But hey, listen, this is not about the driving. It is, but it's not.
Yeah.
Building a non-anxious life.
Really scared you would say that.
It's not, and you know it's not, but we don't have time to get into all of it, but just know that I know, and I know that you know that I know, right?
Yeah.
Yes. If fiance's not safe, you got to deal with that.
Yeah.
If your dad's not safe, you got to deal with that. If that one uncle wasn't safe and he still keeps coming to Christmas, you got to deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All of it. If you have a job that's not safe, you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay? You're about to be married. You're 30 years old. You have survived. It's amazing. You've been punching and kicking your whole life, and now it's time to live. You just got to practice. You got to learn how to do that. Hang on the line. I'm going to hook you up. I'm grateful for your call, Catherine. I'm proud of you. And when you are able to back out of your driveway, drive down the street, go to the store, and drive back home, I want you to write into the show, and we're going to cheer you on the air. I'm proud of you. We'll be right back. Hey, what's up? Delony here. Listen, you and me and everybody else on the planet has felt anxious or burned out or chronically stressed at some point. In my new book, Building a Non-Anxious Life, you'll learn the 6 daily choices that you can make to get rid of your anxious feelings and be able to better respond to whatever life throws at you so you can build a more peaceful, non-anxious life. Get your copy today at johndelony.com. All right, we're back. Kelly, something cool happened. What is it?
Yes, this is from Matthew in Illinois.
Matthew from Illinois.
Yes. I had a falling out with my dad in 2016, and by default, my older brother stopped communicating with me as well. My aunt passed away at the end of 2022, and my brother reached out to ask me which hotel I would be staying at for the funeral. I was hesitant if I should tell him, but decided I would tell him with the understanding that nothing might change. Went into the weekend with no expectations. He met my kids for the first time. I met his long-term girlfriend. We shared breakfast before the funeral and ate lunch together before we parted ways. Here we are a year and a half later. We have hosted them for all of the holidays and exchanged more communication than ever. They spoil my kids, and my brother and I play video games all the time. We are so thankful for them. Thank you for teaching me how to build something new.
That's amazing.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, good for you guys. We forget that on the show, and I used to say it all the time, and I don't say it enough. My goal for everybody is reconciliation. I don't think any relationship's too far gone if both people or everybody in the group is like, I'm going to forgive, I'm going to say I'm sorry, I'm going to set this stuff down, let's build something new. I just believe in that with all my guts, and good on them. That's awesome. That's awesome. That makes my heart feel good. Thank y'all for being with us today. Be kind to each other. Everybody's fighting a war that you know nothing about. Be kind. Love you guys. Bye.